Pakistan. We are planning to as the first batch, 50 schools. So this is number 4. Number 5, we are going to set up 50 to 100 smart classrooms throughout Pakistan. Number 6, we are going to encourage Pakistani students to study in China. In the next 3 years, we are planning to give scholarships, 20,000 scholarships to Pakistani students. So it's about 7,000 every year. And I would also like to add that nowadays in China, there are 25,000 Pakistani students studying in China, and that is number 3 in the international students studying in China. And I would also like to add that in the United States, there are about 5,000 Pakistani students, international students studying over there. In the UK, there are about 16,000. If you add the number of these 2 countries, it is still less than those students going to study in China. And the number 7, we are going to donate some medical equipment and material for 30 hospitals identified, throughout Pakistan. They may include ambulances, ICU, room equipment, X-ray machines, and those kind of things. Number 8, we are going to set up a hospital in Quetta. We are also going to provide some burn center. We are going to set up a burn center in Balochistan, and also in other provinces we also have similar programs. We are going to build another medical emergency center. We have already done one in Quetta, so maybe this time we can build one in the northern part of Balochistan, maybe in Quetta or near Quetta. We are going to donate solar panel equipment for 10,000 households in Balochistan. We are also going to hold training programs for poverty alleviation. We are going to invite Pakistani people, officials, NGOs to go to China to have training programs in this area. We are going to donate disaster relief materials to Pakistan, and also the safe drinking water equipment. We are going to set up a 5,000-ton water desalination plant in Quetta. We are also trying to set up a vocational training center in Quetta. So those are the projects we are going to establish in Pakistan. So I just want to give you a brief idea of what we are going to do over there. Secondly, I would like to share a few jokes with you. In Pakistan there are, some negative perception. Of course, all this perception are wrong. So I want to share some of these jokes with you. Number 1, there's some people, they are saying that those Chinese workers or engineers working on CPAC projects, they are death penalty prisoners. And they signed, this contract with the Chinese government for 3 years. So they are sent here to work on CPAC project, and after 3 years, and they will be sent back home and be set free. Of course, this is a joke, but sometimes I ask myself why people have this kind of perception, and many people simply believe it. Perhaps it's because of one of the reasons is maybe because of security reasons. Because in most cases, this Chinese workers, after they arrived in the airport, and they were escorted to the campsite directly. So they cannot move freely. So when they arrived at the project site, and they are working 24/7, and they are not working around the clock. There are 3 shifts. They are working like this. It's not every project is doing like this. Whenever possible, they are working like this. So they don't have the chance, to interact with, the Pakistani scholars, the think tanks, the people. So that's why, there is, a lot of a misunderstanding. These people, not like me. I've been, enjoying the beauty of the Shalimar Gardens, the Lahore Fort. I come to Quetta. I went to the Hana Lake. But these people, they are, kept at the project site. So this is the first joke, and the second joke, somebody, was spreading the perception that, the power plants established in China, in Pakistan, they are second-hand power plants. Well, this is another joke. Those power plants, especially coal-fired power plants, they are brand new, state-of-the-art power plants. They used, this we call it a supercritical technology, and that's, the best technology in the world. In China, we have also depended on coal heavily. In the past, we used to have 70% of power supply coming from coal. Now it is reduced a little bit, but it is still around 60%. Actually, all those developed countries or developing countries, they depend a lot on this coal-fired power plant. In the United States, you can go to the Department of Energy. Coal is about 33% of their total power supply. With Trump in power, he has opened up this coal mine and coal-fired power plants, so the percentage is coming up. In your big neighbor, in India, I don't want to mention it, it's also the same case. So in Pakistan, how many power plants have you completed? Only 3. This Port Qasim, Sahiwal, and the latest one is Tar coal power plant, which is a very is a big milestone, because it's this tar coal is using the local coal. So these people, they are saying this second-hand power plant, and they are also saying that this coal-fired power plant are polluting the environment, which is totally nonsense. So in China, we used this technology. We have minimized the emissions of the dust, of sulfur. And when you visit a coal-fired power plant, you can see this white steam or vapor, coming out of those chimneys. In the past, when you visit those those power plants operating on oil, it is black smoke. You should note the difference, of words I am using, because those oil-based power plants, they are using, a technology, of 1990s. So it's, they are polluting a lot. So these coal-fired power plants are built to replace, those oil-based power plants. This is number two. Number three, I would like to mention that some of the people, they are saying that, this Chinese CPAC projects, especially the power projects, they are offering a high insurance fee of 7% every year. So, if it's an investment project, if you add the interest rate of 5% or 6% with 7%, it comes 13%, which is totally untrue. Why? Because, this insurance fee, usually, this is for 30 years. It's not for 1 year. So if you divide this 7% by 30 years, it means only a minimum of 0.2%. So if you add the two numbers together, you should add this 6% with 0.2%. It comes to 6.2%. So next time when you somebody said, this Chinese projects or this power projects, the interest rate is 13%, you can tell them the real story. Number four, there are some people, they are spreading the narrative that the China-Pakistan economic corridor is a debt trap. And in 10 years, or in 20 years, Pakistan needs to repay 90 billion US dollars to China, which is totally nonsense. According to the statistics, the soft loans offered by the Chinese government is only 6 billion US dollars. This is government to government soft loan, and it is on very good terms. So the debt of Pakistan is mainly from America, Europe, from IMF, and those international organizations. Number five, recently there is, some reports are saying that, these CPAC projects, they have very high cost. For example, some people are saying, now this coal-fired power plants, nowadays the lowest cost is about 6 US cents. So they are questioning why the CPAC power projects, they are being offered 8 US cents. I can let you know about a few things. Number one, this CPAC power projects, they are mostly implemented based on the 2014 energy policy. When was the situation in 2014? At that time, it was the last government. When they were in power, they offered one energy policy in 2013. At that time, I'm not sure about Quetta, but I was living in Islamabad. In Islamabad at that time, Islamabad was suffering 7 to 8 hours of load shedding every day. That's the capital of your country. That was in 2014. That's why, Pakistan government at that time, they formulated this investment policy, the energy policy at that time. And in 2014, no investors came. And so in 2014, I think that is maybe the highest you offered the, the investors. At that time is 8 US cents. This is number one. What is 8 US cents? This is very cheap at that time. Why I should say that is cheap at that time? Because at that time, Pakistan's electricity was dependent on oil-based power plants. How expensive are those power plants? They are 17 US cents to 25 US cents. So you can see 8 US cents means you will replace those oil-based power plants by the cost of almost half of the cost, or even 1/3 of the cost. So this is number one. Number two, there is no special policy for CPEC energy projects. So the 2014 energy policy offered by Pakistan government is good for every country. There is no special policy for Chinese companies, period. The Chinese companies joined Pakistan's came to invest in the energy sector. Qatar company, they also came. The Port Qasim power plant is a joint venture between China and Qatar companies. The World Bank also came. The Karod hydropower station. The World Bank, to be more specific, the International Financing Corporation of the World Bank provided 15% of financing in the Karod hydropower plant. So, and also the United States came. In which way? Because recently, next month, a huge power plant will be completed in Balochistan. It is in hub in Balochistan, a 1320 megawatts coal-fired power plant will be completed in hub in Balochistan. This is a huge power plant. After completed, it can provide about 10% of the power supply of Pakistan. This power plant uses 3 key equipment from the United States: the turbine, the generator, and another one, the 3 key equipment of that power plant uses GE equipment, is General Electric. General Electric, they bought Alstom of, a French company which is good at turbine. But of course, this GE equipment, they were US equipment, but it's produced in Wuhan in China. So this is number 2. I think this 2014 policy is very successful because it not only attracted Chinese companies, but also attracted Pakistani companies. TAR is not led by Chinese companies. TAR is led by Anglo, by Sindh government. So this is the most successful energy policy in the world. Number 3. We cannot compare those price of those energy of these power plants we cannot compare the price of today with the price of 6 years ago. That is nonsense. I should also say that Pakistan, did an excellent job, because in China, it took China 10 years to solve the problem of load shedding. And it took Pakistan only, I think, 3 years or maximum 5 years. You killed the problem. Why it took China 10 years? Because at that time, to build a power plant takes much longer time. For example, at that time it takes 5 years, now it takes 22 months. For example, at that time, we cannot build huge power plants like this. We can only build 100, 100, 200, or 300 megawatts maximum at that time. So Pakistan did an excellent job in this power sector. So this is the fourth joke. The fifth joke, the Chinese, our English is not good. These people say, China-Pakistan economic corridor. So they, in order to malign CPEC, they say, oh, this is a China-Pakistan economic corruption. This is also CPEC. This is totally bullshit. I'm sorry I used this word. But, for China, for Pakistan, all these projects under CPEC, we discussed with each other at the government level. We have a GCC, Joint Cooperation Committee. And under this committee, this is led by the ministers. And then there's joint working groups. They are led by secretary or DGs. And after that, we have the third tier is we call the joint expert groups, the JEGs. For every project, you have to do the feasibility study and then discussed by all these three groups. And finally, it is approved by the GCC. In Pakistan, is first approved by the CDWP of the Ministry of Planning and Reform. And then for those larger projects, it should be discussed and approved by ACNIC. It all goes through these procedures. You can check all the files. There's no corruption. From the Chinese companies, they are mostly, I tell you, these are state-owned companies. They are not allowed to waste taxpayers' money, not at all. And some people say, this is not a transparent program. This is also nonsense. From the Chinese embassy, we are trying to share all possible information with, the Pakistani people. You can go to our website of the Chinese embassy. You can even find not only the list of the projects which is under construction or completed, you can also find, which project costs how much money. Go and have a look. I am using Twitter a lot. I am tweeting, those pictures, the videos, short videos of each and every project under CPEC. You can go to my Twitter account today. The first tweet, not today, 5 days ago, the first tweet is on Hub. Because, this power plant in Hub in Balochistan will be completed by next month. We are sharing all this information. We also had a program with Pakistan-China Institute. They had a very good website called cpacinfo.com. Those information have been verified by the Chinese embassy. You can also go and have a look. You can use it as a reference when if you are doing research on CPEC. These are good and authentic information. We are also, the Chinese embassy is also part of Pakistan government. We are cooperating with each other very well. We are one team. And we hope, this uh, talk about corruption, about transparency will stop here. So their English is good. They also call China-Pakistan Economic Corridor as China-Punjab Economic Corridor. Well, maybe, there's a lot of people who believe that in Balochistan. But, in terms of numbers, I can share you with, I just I gave you the list of the social sector development projects. I also, later the PCI will give you a presentation of, what are the projects under CPAC. You can have a look. But I would like to mention that under CPAC, we have about, 40 projects. 16 of them, they are from Balochistan. That is about 40%. So we should call this, 40% is in Balochistan. We should call this a CPAC, China-Balochistan Economic Corridor, instead of a Punjab Economic Corridor, because you have the largest number in Punjab, they have only 10, I think. It's much less than you. Yes, and I'm coming to the end. And then, if you talk about those projects under construction or completed, I can let you know that the total volume now of CPAC is, of those projects under construction or completed, we always say that is about 19 billion US dollars. Among this 19 billion US dollars, 2.6 billion US dollars are with Balochistan. How much percent is that? It's about 14%. So in Balochistan, we are very much in favor of, the projects in Balochistan. We have done a lot of projects in Quetta. We are also doing in Hub. We are also doing in Quetta. In Quetta, we have set up a China Study Center in Balochistan University. We have also set up a CPAC excellence, a CPAC Center of Excellence in Butech. In future, I have mentioned, I have a long list for you in Balochistan. So please be, be assured that China, the Chinese embassy, is fully and firmly support those projects in Balochistan. So I think I will end here. Thank you very much. CPAC is the masterpiece, is the flagship project of Belt and Road Initiative. We are very proud of it, and we hope with your support, CPAC will bring a lot of benefits for the people in Balochistan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Quetta city, located in a valley surrounded by mountains, the provincial capital and the largest city of Balochistan, suffers an acute shortage of water. About 50 years ago, water was fed through causeways, which have dried up, and now groundwater remains the only source to meet the daily water requirements. Demographic changes like migration and urbanization has increased the demand for water. Several reports have been published by different organizations and forums acknowledging the water crisis in Quetta. This is a challenge not only for the people of Quetta but also the government.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। मेरे शहर कोयटा में पीने के पानी का बहुत बड़ा मसला है और इस मसले को हल करने के लिए पूरी कोशिश कर रहा हूँ और मैंने चाइना की हुकूमत से भी ताउन की दरख्वास्त की थी तो उन्होंने मेरी दरख्वास्त पर क्वेटा शहर के पहाड़ों के दामन में 5 सोलर सिस्टम के ट्यूबवेल्स लगाए हैं। बहुत बड़ा मसला है जिसमें चाइना की हुकूमत ने ताउन किया, पीने के पानी के सिलसिले में ट्यूबवेल्स लगाए। मैं उनका बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ, बहुत शुक्रिया।
Upon the special request of the Honorable Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of Pakistan, Mr. Qasim Khan Suri, the Embassy of the People's Republic of China considered this as a major problem and decided to contribute and help the people of Quetta by providing 5 sustainable water supply schemes in collaboration with the Water and Sanitation Authority of Quetta. The 5 stations are solar powered, which enables them to run free of cost. Each water system pumps approximately 190 liters of water per minute. Which enables the whole water scheme to inject approximately 456,000 liters of pure drinking water into the Wasa main system through the already existing pipe layout and water pumping stations of Wasa. According to the statistics of the World Health Organization, each person requires 20 liters of water for everyday necessities, which, if managed properly, it allows the project to benefit and fulfill the requirements of 22,800 people living in Quetta. The friendship between China and Pakistan is a time-tested relationship, and on behalf of the people of Quetta, we thank the Embassy of the People's Republic of China for this wonderful gift, which will further strengthen the brotherly relation of the two neighbors and friends. Long live Pakistan-China friendship. Xie.
क्वेटा के पानी का मसला एक अहम मसला है। मैं चाइना की एम्बेसी का ख़ुसूसी शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ जिन्होंने क्वेटा के पानी के मसले को कंसिडर किया और हमारे लिए एक पेशकीमती तोहफ़ा हमें दिया, और इन 5 ट्यूबवेल से काफ़ी हद तक पानी का मसला हल हो सकता है। और वो लोग जो कि अपने रिस्क हलाल की कमाई से एक बड़ा हिस्सा पानी खरीदने के लिए लगाते थे, अब वो लोग वही पैसे अपनी रोज़मर्रा ज़िंदगी के आम अहम चीज़ों की तरफ लगाएंगे।
क्वेटा वैसा बहुत ज़्यादा शुक्रगुजार है चाइनीज़ गवर्नमेंट का कि उन्होंने एक अहम प्रोजेक्ट जो सोलर ट्यूबवेल्स का प्रोजेक्ट है 5 उनकी सक्सेसफुल उनकी कंप्लीशन हुई है। ये ट्यूबवेल अपनी नौयत के हवाले से बड़े मुनफरिद है। एक तो कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव है कि जो एक इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के जो टैरिफ है जो कॉस्टली पड़ता है गवर्नमेंट को भी अथॉरिटी को, उससे तो निजात मिलेगी। और इसके साथ साथ जो ट्यूबवेल जिन एरिया से नस्ब किए गए हैं वहाँ पे इन ट्यूबवेलों की अशद ज़रूरत थी, और ये बलोचिस्तान में अपने स्ट्रक्चर के हवाले से ये एक ख़ास मकाम रखते हैं कि उनकी जो तामीर है और जिस तरीके से ये कंसीव किया गया प्रोजेक्ट और जिस तरीके से ये इसको पाया तक पहुँचाया गया, میں تو کہوں گا کہ ماڈرن ٹیوب ویلز میں جو ہے وہ اس طرح کی ماڈرن ٹیوب ویلز میں ان کو شمار کیا جائے.